Occurred, the 1st of October 2015, 0000 location, Brownsburg, in shape, cone duration. 5 minutes, 4 symmetrically stationed lights that changed shapes. I was going to bed at midnight and noticed 4 lights, as I was looking south out my bedroom window. The 4 lights were a distance away but were stationary across the sky, symmetrically apart, from east to west at the same height. They were definitely not stars. I also saw planes in the air, but these 4 lights had no movement and no flashing airplane lights. I also noticed an aircraft in the air that I assumed was a helicopter sitting at a distance, as it was not moving, was stationary, with the usual flashing light. I noticed all 4 lights went from a dot to a vertical line that had multiple colors in the light, almost rainbow. As they turned into lines of light, there was no change in altitude with the lights. I woke my wife as I wanted someone else to see what I was seeing. I decided to get my binoculars after a few minutes, and when I returned, the lights had moved. I believe I could see one yet farther away, and when I looked in the binoculars, it seemed to be shaped like a waffle cone with the light as where the ice cream would be on the cone. It was too far away to 100% know for sure. The sky seemed normal after that. It seemed like a lot of extra planes were in the air when I saw the lights.
Occurred, the 2nd of July 2017, 1930 location, Brownsburg, in shape, circle duration. 20 minutes stationary black disc. I was doing DoorDash, a food delivery service, driving back from Claremont, Indiana, into Brownsburg on US Highway 136. I noticed a black object in the sky. At first I thought it was just a hot air balloon or something. It stayed stationary the whole time I watched it. I turned off of 136 onto 1000E driving back to my home. I had no other deliveries. The black circle was still just sitting in the sky, so I drove up CR 400 to 900E and got back on 136. I pulled over in a church parking lot and watched it for about another 5 minutes. It never moved an inch, just hovered silently in the sky, took a pic and recorded a 15-second video.
Occurred, the 6th of June 2020, 22:30 location, Brownsburg, in shape, unknown duration. 3 minutes characteristics. There were lights on the object. The object changed color. Object over I-74. I was on my way home from work, heading west on I-74 from Indianapolis. As I was approaching the Ronald Reagan exit, I saw a flashing green and white light overhead. The green light was above the white light and slightly behind it. The lights appeared to me moving north, and as they crossed over my location, the green light was no longer behind the white light but directly above it. After they had passed over and were on the other side of my view, I didn't see a green light anymore but just 2 white lights, no longer one on top of the other but next to each other, and they were still moving north. The lights were flashing. I never saw them stay on continually. After I had gotten off the Ronald Reagan exit and heading south on Ronald Reagan, I looked back to see if I could spot it again. As I was heading south looking behind me, I was able to spot the object once more, still the white lights next to each other, with a little space in between, just 2 lights, possibly as if one on each wing. I really couldn't make out any shapes, only the lights. At this point it seemed it must have turned around because it was now heading south. I had to pay attention to the road, and at my next chance to look I couldn't spot it again. To me it appeared much too large to be a drone.
Occurred, September 23, 2013, 2300 location, Coatesville, in shape, disc duration, approximately 1 hour. Characteristics. There were lights on the object. Saw a disc shape with a dome top and bottom with blinking red and green lights. About 11 p.m. looking at the night sky, saw red and green blinking lights. Got my camera so I could enlarge. Put on night mode, Samsung Galaxy 4. Once enlarged I could make out the shape and lights much clearer. Disc shape with top and bottom domes. I also saw what looked like little stars or balls of light around it coming and going, almost reminded me of swarming mosquitoes. One turned a bright red for just a second. kept moving in a line further away until I could not see anymore. Took about an hour from when I first noticed it. Disappeared out of sight or went behind trees. I could not tell which happened first. Lucky to see it by about 12:40. It became overcast in our area.
Occurred, October 20th 1963 1900 Location, Danville, in shape, disk duration, don't know characteristics. There were lights on the object emitted beams UFO over Cornfield, Indiana 1963, in Danville, Indiana. This happened in 1963 and I was in the 4th grade. We knew nothing of what a UFO was, so this is my story. My cousin and I were down at the creek at my cousin's grandmother's house, and we went back to sit on the stoop on the front porch, and remembered that we forgot our watches at the creek, so we went back and got them, and we saw like a jet in the sky with the sun on it, and didn't think too much of it. It was getting dark and right across the road was a cornfield. All of a sudden this thing was over the cornfield. It made no sound and it was huge and round with a row of windows on the top around it. It had one big light that shone down on the field. The next thing I know is I am in bed and they called my mother to come and at me, because they said I was in shock and to hurry. That night I kept on making pictures what it looked like to show my family was I saw, but I never did believe that they really believed what I saw, but you have to remember that was when no one talked about seeing things like that. The next day I was still not feeling well, so my mother came and got me out of school. The thing that really bothers me is that my cousin didn't seem to get upset about what we saw, but it sure affected me. All I know is that I saw something I didn't know what it was, and I was just a little girl, so when people ask me do I believe, I can swear to you that I do believe. People have asked me did I lose any time, and I just don't know. As I got older, I am now 53 years old, I am still affected by this. Thanks for listening to me. Everyone laughs when I tell them, but when they see my face they know I am not joking.
Occurred June 24, 2001 2050 Location, Danville, in shape, unknown duration, 1 to 2 seconds characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object, neon green light like a comet shooting across the sky. Witnessed a neon green colored light race across the sky in a northern line. I have never seen anything move as fast as this. At first I thought it was a comet, but it did not appear to be falling but shooting across the sky. Lasted just a few seconds and it was gone.
Occurred September 17, 2016 2100 Location, Danville, in shape, triangle duration, 30 seconds characteristics. There were lights on the object emitted beams. Me and my family were driving in a car and I noticed 3 lights in a row. The second I saw it I knew something was weird and didn't take my eyes off it. The lights grew bigger and I realized it was coming closer, so told my family to watch. It was emitting beams of white light and slowly hovered over the road and it made no sound.
Occurred, September 25, 2004 2000 Location, Liston, in shape, light duration, 20 minutes characteristics. Very bright light changing from white to blue, hovering in the same spot for approximately 20 minutes then disappeared. My son, husband and I watched a very bright light that flashed from white to blue. It stayed in the same spot approximately 20 minutes and then ducked behind the trees. It moved in and out of the trees for about 5 minutes and then just disappeared. This was definitely not an airplane or a helicopter.
Occurred, the 12th of December 2019 1850 Location, Liston, in shape, disk duration, 4 minutes characteristics. We saw an object in the sky south of Liston, Indiana, time 1850. Looked like 2 frisbees stacked on top of each other. I plus 3 others were traveling north on State Road 39, time was 1850. I noticed a bright light out my driver's side window. It was very bright. I could see a small plane to the south of the light thing, but this was keeping pace with my car, a truck and 1 other car. It looked like 2 frisbees, one on top of the other. I reached for my cell phone to take a photo, and when I looked up, the object thing was maybe half as bright. I started to open my camera app and it was gone. All 3 of us pulled over and got out of our cars and couldn't see it anymore.
Occurred, April 15, 2004 1700 Location, Pittsboro, in shape, light duration, 45 minutes characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object. The object was bright orange-ish yellow, and approximately to the north in a clearing of TTHE clouds. It was a nice day and my friend and I had just finished watching a movie. We decided to go outside. The sky was bright orange. I looked approximately to the north. There was a bright orangish yellow ball in a clearing of the clouds. At first, I thought it was a plane. After it stayed there for over 10 minutes, I finally realized what I was seeing could possibly be a UFO. I am still wondering what it was. I figured you might want to know.